game against NC State, he was physical, aggressive, led the way with 15-point scoring. And against this team tonight, Virginia, with their tough defense, they're going to need an enforcer, a strong guy who is willing to press that point.
He has had an outstanding season with a 1-2 combo with the front court for Clemson to P.J. Hall and Hunter Tyson. Each team is without a pretty important player. Alex Hemingway of Clemson, an emergency appendectomy a couple days ago. He's okay, but obviously not playing. Ben Vanderplas, talented big man grad transfer for Virginia, broke his hand in practice a few days ago. He's done for the rest of the season.
Little screen, rescreen action to get Reese Beekman open. He gets it inside to Jaden Gardner, and Jaden Gardner's excellent one-on-one in the post. Great job by Galloway to knock it away.
Some interesting matchups. Galloway starting on Gardner. You might have some bigs on smalls and smalls on bigs as both coaches try to figure out what works best. Like Hunter Tyson is on Armon Franklin right now.
Yeah, there are going to be some times when players have to switch.
Nice look. And the slam for Francisco Caffaro and a foul to boot.
Yeah, Hunter Tyson, just a little bit of contact when Caffaro got past him. And oftentimes in this blocker mover type offense, the big guys, the screeners, are going to be open because you go with the cutter, set a screen, just a little wide pin down, 2 on the ball. They just drop it off to Caffaro, and he gets the first basket for Virginia.
And you talked about it. They take a lot of time on offense, but they're not standing around.
No.
They're making you guard. And Brad Brownell and every other coach, they admit it could really wear on you the way that Virginia runs its offense.
And you have to be really patient in this game if you're Clemson, because it's a rhythm disrupting type of game.
Galloway, the grad transfer from BC, knocks it in to tie the game.
Yeah, Brevin Galloway started his career at Charleston.
Forgive me, a 1-point lead. Caffaro missed the free throw. Yeah, Galloway, a 6th-year collegiate player.
He's 25 years old. Getting AARP mailings.
Clark the kick back out to Franklin. Now Beekman. How good was Beekman for Virginia last night in the win over Carolina?
And he's good every game. He's such a great defender.
Gardner keeps it alive amidst a trio of Tigers and kicks it back out.
Virginia doesn't get a ton of offensive rebounds, but what they get is usually Jaden Gardner.
Kihei Clark. And the rebound to Ian Shefflin, who has played 2 of the best games of his career in the last 2 for Clemson. Great against Notre Dame on the weekend, and then terrific last night against NC State. And how about that? Banks one in right over Caffaro.
Might have gotten away with a walk, but took the contact from Caffaro, which was not insubstantial, and still finished the play. And Shefflin is such a good passer as well.
Clark wide open behind a screen, and he buries it.
You can't dare him from the 3-point line.
Kihei Clark, thanks in part to that 5th COVID year, the most games, starts, and wins in Virginia basketball history.
Seems like he was recruited alongside Othell Wilson.
Tyson into Hall, double team. You know it's coming. He kicks it.
Good pass.
Chase Hunter. And the rebound down to Gardner.
Not a lot of offensive rebounds available against Virginia. So they send all 5 guys to the defensive glass. Even the guards get in there and get their noses dirty on the glass.
Great effort. And a foul called on Jaden Gardner. What a play by the Tigers to force that turnover. Chase Hunter. Brad Brownell, the winningest coach in Clemson basketball history. He has taken his team to the NCAA tournament 3 prior times. Again, to my 2 eyes and Jay's 2 eyes, this looks like a tournament team. Of course, Tony Bennett knows his who's are going to the tournament. They returned all 5 starters and 91% of their scoring from a team that went to the NIT last year. They've got higher goals right now.
I don't need 2 eyes to see the Clemson's a tournament team. I just use my magic eye.
Hunter Tyson.
Yeah, Clemson has 5 quad 1 wins, and 4 of them are away from home. I mean, I don't even know why this is a discussion. This is an NCAA tournament team, period.
They've beaten NC State 3 times, handily all 3 times, including last night when they roughed them up to the tune of 80-54.
And they beat Penn State early in the season in that Big Ten ACC challenge and double dribble.
Yeah. But beat Duke.
Yeah, they beat Duke. I mean, they've had beat Pittsburgh. They've had really good wins.
Yeah, the Pitt win was on the road. Got a 1-point lead early here on to Virginia. They lost their only game against Virginia. That was just 10 days ago in Charlottesville. And Virginia didn't score until the 15-12 mark of the first half. 4 minutes, 48 seconds. They didn't score. We're down 5-0. Went on a 17-2 run and basically just kind of held them off from there, winning 64-57. Whoop.
First down
goes Tyson.
First down. And this game's going to be physical.
Yeah.
You know, Clemson is a physical team. They've got some big bodies with P.J. Hall, Hunter Tyson. You know, Shefflin's a big body.
Vanderplas out with a broken hand.
Tony Bennett was funny talking to us yesterday. He said he got in front of the team and said that he was showing him the hand, saying, well, this is where Ben broke his hand. It was the metatarsal.
Right.
And then he realized, the doctor told him, no, it's metacarpal.
Right.
And we were joking, foot, hand, what's the difference?
The meta something. Galloway no, Caffaro the rebound. So Vanderplas out. Unfortunately for him, won't have a chance to play in the tournament this year. Caffaro starting, and we will see a lot of Caden Shedrick. Kind of a forgotten guy recently for Virginia. Did some good things last night against Carolina.
Vanderplas a good steal by Hunter Tyson.
How good is this guy? First team all ACC. Driving hard to the bucket, and he draws the foul. As we step aside for the first time tonight here in semifinal number 2 in Greensboro.
It started with making a better men's shirt. And now we're on a mission to take over your entire closet with basics that last a lifetime. Inspired by our Southern California roots, Built Basics is here to elevate your style in true premium fashion. Make the switch to premium basics today and level up your look. Shop now at BuiltBasics.com.
BetterHelp provides various options to connect with your therapist.
We can do this via video, we can do this as a chat, we can do this over the phone. So whatever is most convenient for the client is really what's going to help them open up more at the end of the day.
I have learned that I really do believe in the best of people. And I do really believe that people are stronger sometimes than they think they are, even themselves.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by New York Life. Over 12,000 agents there to help guide you through life's happiest and most difficult times. And Chang Can Dunk, an original movie now streaming only on Disney+. So we talked about Clemson, a big picture, resume, net, quad wins, etc., etc. And you made the point they've got 5 quad 1 wins. Well, they had 4 going into last night. They beat NC State on a neutral court. That's a quad 1 win, so they've got 5, right? Not so fast, my friend. And this is the trickiness of the quad situation. We talked about it. One of their quad 1 wins was a road win at Virginia Tech, who were in the low 70s in the net. And as long as you're in the top 75, a road win counts as a quad 1 win. When Virginia Tech lost, they went to 76 in the net. So Clemson lost that quad 1 win. It's now a quad 2 win. And that's why people shouldn't get too hung up on quad 1, quad 2, because not all quad 1 and quad 2 wins are created equal, and things can move around a lot. But it doesn't invalidate the win that Clemson had in Blacksburg.
Well, one of the things that these metrics have to be improved upon, and especially the net, is there's got to be a way, there is a way to put a value on the game at the time it was played. And not just the quad thing, but the value of the performance. So even the value of a performance in a really close loss, you lose in double overtime. That's not just a loss. That's a quality performance worthy of a win.
That was a quality performance right there by Caden Shedrick.
Well, he's been a different player the last couple games. He was instrumental in that win over North Carolina.
And again, you know, your record in quad 1, quad 2, even the net as a whole, those are just among the tools that the tournament selection committee uses to evaluate a team. But it sure feels like Clemson has picked up the quality wins. Why are they not in even better shape? Because they've had some kind of troubling losses. They lost to Louisville. They lost to Loyola Chicago. They lost to South Carolina. Those are not typically the kinds of losses that tournament teams have, at least not that many of them. But they have a number of quality wins that other bubble teams don't have. Josh Beadle in off the bench. Good pass. Shefflin back to the free throw line.
Boy, a good late cut by Ian Shefflin. And that was not one of the better possessions for Clemson in the half court. They've got to get a little bit more movement, because if you're going against this pack line defense, which does a great job of staying in gaps and making it difficult to get into the paint, you know, they force you into help. And it's tough it's really hard to get easy baskets against Virginia. There's almost no such thing, because it's hard to get offensive rebound baskets. It's really hard to get anything in transition, because Virginia really only sends one, maybe two to the offensive glass when it suits them. But they want to get back and take away your transition.
1 of 2 for Shefflin, who had 15 points, 6 rebounds last night in the win over the Wolfpack. Playing his best basketball right now when it matters the most. Beekman underneath. Bothered by Shefflin. Beekman got it back. And good closeout there by Chase Hunter. Now Beekman shut off on the baseline by Shefflin.
Yeah, that shot fake is so good.
And the reverse for Kihei Clark.
Kihei Clark stays low on that shot fake. You know, it's almost like he gets down in a stance and lifts that ball over his head and just gets the defender off balance. Then he drives it. He's in perfect position to drive with the way he executes that fake. Good pick and pop.
And this is where P.J. Hall is so dangerous. Doesn't hit here, but a 41% three-point shooter on the season.
Anytime he sets a ball screen, he needs to get out of it quickly, whether it's a roll or a pop, so he can present himself as a receiver.
In off the bench for Virginia, freshman Isaac McNeely, player of the year in the state of West Virginia last year. And he can do this. He can do that.
Beautiful little fade screen set by Ryan Dunn, and the throw over the top. Got to have a little more pressure on the ball, but McNeely sets those feet really quickly.
Dunn and McNeely, both freshmen, both played very well in the win over Clemson 10 days ago. Another miss from beyond the arc for Hall.
And Hall obviously can make that. The pick and pop was a little bit better of a shot. That was more what I would call a settle.
Hunter Tyson getting ready to check back in. Constant movement, constant screening. And Kihei Clark always looking for the open man. Shot clock running down, and a shot clock violation.
Now watch this shot fake by Kihei Clark. Catches the ball, just lifts up, and he gets Hunter just off balance a bit, and then he gets all the way to the basket. Now the pass and then the fade screen. Ryan Dunn's going to set a little fade screen along the top and right out to the three-point line. Just beautifully executed by Virginia. And Ben Vanderplas, one of the problems with that program, he can't clap.
Clark to the bench. As Armon Franklin has returned for Virginia. Ben Middlebrooks has checked in for Clemson. Sophomore from Fort Lauderdale. Big strong guy, number 10. Gave him some good minutes last night. As did R.J. Godfrey, a freshman who tried to gather in that rebound. Brad Brownell very pleased with his younger players last night.
Yeah, Clemson's freshmen, they're capable now. They're going to be really good. It's an excellent class that Brad Brownell brought in.
That's a tough one from Franklin, kind of drifting to his right through the key.
And really good defense by Godfrey on that. And then he ran the floor, just couldn't make the catch.
Beekman, the defensive player of the year in the conference, and pretty good at the offensive end as well, but had that one blocked and then saving it under your opponent's bucket.
Reese Beekman was right there to pressure the intended passer, and you just got to take that one out of bounds. You can't risk it.
The Tigers now scoreless for over 3 minutes. Not anymore. Tyson for 3.
Well, how good it was that read of the defense. Instead of curling off that screen, the defender jumped it, and Hunter Tyson just very quickly faded to the three-point line. And man, was he ready to shoot. That didn't take long to get off at all.
Two bigs, each of whom shoots at least 40% from three. Beekman, a bit of a line drive jumper there, and back come the Tigers.
And because everyone was on the baseline, that's really the only time you're going to see Clemson get any sort of transition. But still, Virginia able to get back, cover up, force a really tough two.
Long stretch without a whistle. Franklin got it.
And Armaan Franklin has had just a fantastic year, shooting close to 40% from three, and he shot over 40% at Indiana. But I think it took him a while to get used to the pace and where his shots were coming from. But he is completely comfortable on both ends of the floor this year.
Tyson wants it, guarded by Franklin. Middlebrooks down on the block. Tyson lost it.
Good defense by Franklin.
McNeely open. He's one of these every time he shoots it, you think it's going in kind of guys. He can really shoot. Good position down low. But Shedrick wins the battle with Middlebrooks.
Just stayed strong and long to bother that shot by Ben Middlebrooks. That was a really good duck in by Middlebrooks.
Shedrick, a guy who did not play at all in the last two regular season games for Virginia, but with Vander Plas out, sharing the minutes up front now with Caffaro.
He does a good job of setting screens and playing off of them.
Franklin lost it. 3 to shoot. Got bumped. And will be at the line when we come back.
Armaan Franklin leading this Virginia team in scoring, 13 points per game. Virginia tied for the league title without a scorer in the ACC's top 20. But they play at a slower pace, and Hunter Tyson, first team All-ACC. The great fade to the three-point line and the quick release.
BetterHelp provides various options to connect with your therapist.
We can do this via video, we can do this as a chat, we can do this over the phone. So whatever is most convenient for the client is really what's going to help them open up more at the end of the day.
I have learned that I really do believe in the best of people. And I do really believe that people are stronger sometimes than they think they are, even themselves.
There's a reason some people go to the gym. Because they don't do what you do every day. Lifting, climbing, lunging, and repeating till the job's done right. This is your workout. This is your gym. And these are the boots and workwear that stretch, support, and protect you every step of the way. Learn more at ariatwork.com or a retailer near you.
One of the most valuable members of this Virginia Cavalier team is longtime manager Anna Williamson. She is a senior this year, and when she got to climb up the stairs and cut down part of the net when they were co-champs of the ACC, Tony Bennett and all the players said it was one of the most special moments they can remember. You see, Anna was born with spina bifida. She is paralyzed from her knees down. She's undergone over 10 surgeries to try to get the ability to walk, and even now she's wearing a heavy brace that allows her to control her foot on the right-hand side. She's graduating for Virginia. She's been a huge piece of this team's chemistry, the love that they have on this squad, and she's opening her own coffee shop in Charlottesville in August. It's called Revival, and I promise you, Anna, I will be one of your first and best customers. She is a true inspiration.
What a wonderful story, Holly. Thank you so much for that, Jay. You have always championed managers, and I think you said it last night, to anybody looking to hire people, if you want to hire somebody young who's going to work hard and be outstanding at whatever it is they're pursuing, basketball managers should be at the top of the list.
And Anna's a member of a great managerial crew at Virginia. They are the best I've seen in a practice of getting the bubble for like a bubble drill into the bucket. Now last year they had an episode where it took them 3 or 4 chances and Tony Bennett let them know about it, but that's an outstanding managerial crew.
Brevin Galloway lays it in, and it's a 4-point game.
But Anna's coffee shop is gonna put a shiver in the spine of the Mud House right there behind the Omni.
So Mud House and Revival go to both.
What, do you have stock in the Mud House?
None of your business. Franklin out. Tane Murray into the game. A sophomore from Auckland, New Zealand.
Yeah, Murray's a good shooter. He's just 1 of 11 from 3 this season. A good curl of that screen by Isaac McNeely.
Shot clock inside 5. Caffaro.
What a pass.
And Murray will hit it. How about that?
Just his second 3 of the season. Now 2 of 12. But give Francisco Caffaro credit for making that cross-court pass. Francisco. That's fun to say.
Was Caffaro until earlier this season when we were told he preferred Caffaro.
Caffaro had one-on-one in the post after ball reversal and looked middle and found Shefflin was in the lane, and he found Tane Murray wide open cross court. That was an excellent pass by Caffaro, and he was very excited about Argentina's win in the World Cup.
Yes.
Tony Bennett had to change practice time so that he could watch the game. Otherwise, in practice, he would have had his iPhone looking at what was going on.
That's understandable.
Absolutely understandable.
So here at the line is Brevin Galloway from Anderson, South Carolina, about 15 miles away from Clemson campus. Was not offered a scholarship by Clemson out of high school. And a 6th-year senior, as we mentioned, Charleston, BC, and now back at Clemson for his final year, getting a chance to play really close to home.
They played for Earl Grant at Charleston and went with Earl to Boston College.
Up top and deflected away. It will stay with the Virginia. 7 on the shot clock.
Clemson working so hard to stay in gaps, but when you're chasing cutters around, that makes it really difficult because Virginia moves your defense.
When the details take precedence and each piece is crafted with intention, the rest falls perfectly into place. We strip away everything but the essential, finding sophistication in simplicity. And what we're left with are thoughtful bedrooms for modern living. Thuma.
There is a lot that goes into becoming a licensed therapist.
I completed 4 years of undergraduate, 2 years of graduate school, followed by 2 years of clinical training.
You literally have to do 3,000 hours plus of one-on-one, face-to-face interactions with clients.
I chose social work. I wanted to help people in times of need.
BetterHelp has been a game changer across the board. I just change one person, and that's what wakes me up every morning.
In Nashville, the SEC men's tournament, Alabama, Missouri, and Texas A&M have already advanced to the semis with the year A&M is having. Kentucky's playing Vanderbilt right now. Kentucky up 3 late in the first half. 8th game of the SEC network. You can see the semis tomorrow afternoon on ESPN. B.J. Hall and Clemson trailing Virginia 22-18, 7:56 to go first half. The winner of this one to take on Duke in the championship game tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern time on ESPN. Shot clock at 2. Beekman knows it. The follow will go for Jaden Gardner.
Boy, when you are chasing around screens, chasing Beekman, and then Shefflin had to switch off, it's so tough to get a blockout responsibility on Jaden Gardner. You know, the pace at which Virginia, it's a slow pace team overall, but they don't run their offense slowly. They run it with great pace, and it's constant movement coming off of screens. You get 2 to the ball, they give a little pocket pass, get a layup.
And right now their depth is showing up too. McNeely, Dunn, Murray's hit a big shot. Shedrick in off the bench. both ends of the floor. With the injury to Vanderplas, they've still got good depth. Gardner, his second bucket in a row.
So dangerous down in that low post because he doesn't go into your, he goes into your body to create space, but then he can hit that little turnaround jumper, fade away. One of the best mid-range and post games in college basketball. And he showed it when he was at East Carolina. He averaged 19-20 a game. He was All-American Athletic Conference.
Great ball movement by the Tigers. Galloway the miss. Shefflin the offensive board. The kick to Tyson. And a couple of good looks from beyond the arc, but nothing doing for the Tigers.
You can feel like it's so hard to establish rhythm offensively when you're playing against Virginia. If you take a quick shot, then all of a sudden it's a time of possession game. You're spending all your time on defense. Good pass.
Gardner the miss. Pretty feed though from Kihei Clark.
Those little pocket passes are so difficult. You want to stop the drive, but I think you got to make Kihei Clark finish.
Hall into the chest of Shedrick, and he converts.
Boy, shows his strength there. Just knocking Shedrick back, creating that space, and going up with a little jump hook. And P.J. Hall is such a good player. There's so many what I would call respected players on the floor. You know, Reese Beekman, Kihei Clark, Hunter Tyson, P.J. Hall, guys that coaches around the league and players they just respect.
Yeah, Jaden Gardner, who you mentioned before. Yeah.
They know how hard it is to play against these guys.
And Gardner draws the foul on Dylan Hunter.
Because of the pace that Virginia plays with, you have to run off so many screens. There's a little screen, a curl, another screen, a little zoom action, turns the corner, and now you got to, all of a sudden you have a guard trying to block out Jaden Gardner.
And Brad Brownell, when we were talking to him this morning, he said, you know, their offense helps their defense. Their defense helps their offense. You have to work so hard on your defense that maybe you're not quite as sharp or as, you know, energetic as you want to be on offense because you're spending so much time guarding them at the other end.
It's a mentally challenging game to play against Virginia. And, you know, I mean, I joke about it, but it's kind of true. It's kind of like sitting in a dentist's office for 2 hours. You're not going to get the pace you normally get. Your shots aren't coming where they normally come from. Everything's difficult.
Stolen away by Clark.
Who's better at coming from behind and getting those knockaways and steals?
And now the offensive rebound for Clark.
Clark studies people's dribble. He knows when the ball's hitting the floor and coming back up and when to take it away.
All down with a rebound for Clemson. 5 minutes to go first half. Virginia by 7.
Well, you have to know where Kihei Clark and Reese Beekman are on the floor at all times. They're so good defensively. When you've got the ball, you know exactly where Kihei Clark is. He's right in your grill.
Yep. Yeah, Beekman's more like that free safety or nickelback. You don't see him until the ball's in the air, and then you see him.
Good action run by Brad Brownell there, just getting P.J. Hall to that left elbow. Made the catch against Shedrick. He could get to that right hand for the isolation drive at the elbow. Pocket pass again.
And Shedrick with an and one opportunity. Virginia offense at its finest right there.
If you give too much attention to Kihei Clark coming off that screen when he curls it, you know, the big guy helps out. So P.J. Hall tries to give attention to it. He gives that little pocket pass to Caden Shedrick. And now Hall's got to recover, and he was in the restricted arc. And that's an automatic block and a great finish by Shedrick.
Armon Franklin returns. Kihei Clark will sit.
And a 7-point, when Virginia has a 7-point lead, it feels like another team has a 15-point lead.
You see the numbers there, and how unusual is that to have two guys on the same team be second and third in a conference, whatever conference, in assists.
And especially at the lower possession rate that Virginia plays at. They don't have as many possessions as other teams in the league.
Clemson needed that one. Hunter Tyson delivers with a three.
Well, that can really stretch a defense out. What an amazing year he's had. I still think Hunter Tyson should have been not only first team ACC, but the ACC's most improved player.
Went from 10 points per game to 15.5, 5.5 rebounds per game to 9.6.
Boy, that was a wide open shot for Armaan Franklin. They just did a little screen rescreen action.
And it'll be Virginia ball when we come back. 3:27 to go in the half. Who's 5-4? ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. When you take care of your team, they take care of business. And Dave & Buster's, the best place to watch your team with your team.
There is a lot that goes into becoming a licensed therapist.
I completed 4 years of undergraduate, 2 years of graduate school, followed by 2 years of clinical training.
You literally have to do 3,000 hours plus of one-on-one, face-to-face interactions with clients.
I chose social work. I wanted to help people in times of need.
BetterHelp has been a game changer across the board. If I just change one person, that's what wakes me up every morning.
When the details take precedence, and each piece is crafted with intention, the rest falls perfectly into place. We strip away everything but the essential, finding sophistication in simplicity. And what we're left with are thoughtful bedrooms for modern living. Thuma.
Clark will go down as one of the best players ever in Virginia history. He is so fun to watch, but he has got a special connection with his head coach. Look at this relationship. In the last time out, the players are gone. They're already on the floor, and here he is with Coach Bennett going over things. That's who he is. You know, he's a smaller player at 5'9", and Coach Bennett said it's easy to overlook dimensions, that if you think a guy's too small, but he was actually Muggsy Bogues' backup in the NBA, and Coach Bennett said when you see heart, when you see determination, you know if a guy can play, he can play, and that's what he sees in Kihei Clark. Look at this young man, all that he's done. First in games, first in wins, first in assists, and he will go down as one of the best, not just in Virginia history, in ACC history. What a heart, soul, and determination for Kihei Clark.
The intangibles are great, the results are great, and it's like having another coach on the floor.
Yeah, I played with guys that did that in the huddle with the coach, but it was more, this is where I need to get the ball. This is where I need my shots from.
No matter what Billis might have just told you. Clark the kick to Beekman. And Clemson forces a turnover.
Clemson does such a good job with their gap protection. This is a great help defensive team. They cover up for each other. Good passing.
And a good look from the corner. Chase Hunter can't knock it down. That would have made it a one-point game.
Well, you can't say enough about the season that Chase Hunter has had. Having to step into the point guard position. He had 11 points and 9 assists against NC State.
Gardner got rid of it in a hurry. And Armaan Franklin somehow got the offensive rebound with 3 Tigers right there.
Nobody put a body on Armaan Franklin. And this is not a high volume offensive rebounding team.
Ryan Dunn soars for the rebound. If you're not a Virginia fan and not familiar with him, remember that name over the next couple of years.
And if you're a shirt maker, you can make some money off him with the extra sleeve length. Good pass. My goodness.
Gardner finds Franklin and the lead grows for the Hoos.
Just a spectacular cut from the top from Armaan Franklin. Spectacular. If you get caught ball watching against Virginia, it is a bucket.
There's a reason some people go to the gym. Because they don't do what you do every day. Lifting, climbing, lunging, and repeating till the job's done right. This is your workout. This is your gym. And these are the boots and workwear that stretch, support, and protect you every step of the way. Learn more at ariatwork.com or a retailer near you.
BetterHelp provides various options to connect with your therapist.
We can do this via video, we can do this as a chat, we can do this over the phone. So whatever is most convenient for the client is really what's going to help them open up more at the end of the day.
I have learned that I really do believe in the best of people. And I do really believe that people are stronger sometimes than they think they are, even themselves.
So much going on around the country, and coming up at the halftime, the All-State halftime report. Coach Fonz Reese, Duke impressive in a hard-fought win over Miami in the first semifinal here tonight, and Kansas advancing to the title game of the Big 12 tournament. Maybe they can learn to get along by the time we come to them at halftime.
Yeah, I think it's amazing the speed and agility of Reese's staff to get out of the shot when we take that. His butler, his makeup people, and the cast of thousands that take care of that toupee.
Tyson a miss on the three.
And it's been one shot and out for Clemson. And Clemson's had some good shot opportunities, but I really do think the fact that it's so difficult to establish any offensive rhythm against Virginia works against them.
Clemson with just 2 offensive rebounds here in the half. Virginia, as you said, they don't typically get a lot, but they've got 6 offensive rebounds in the game tonight. Another good pass and another bucket, and it's the largest lead of the night for UVA.
Reese Beekman, when he drives and draws defensive help, he is expert at passing out of it, and Jaden Gardner is the beneficiary.
9 assists on 15 made baskets for the Hoos. Hall no.
And every shot that Clemson is getting around the basket is over a defender. And Virginia doesn't foul very much. They make you make a tough 2.
Gardner takes a bump from Hall, regathers and finishes.
Just sticks with the play. And right now Clemson is in a tough spot because they're having a hard time scoring. And Virginia has been taking it to them on the offensive end.
Yeah, Virginia's so crisp offensively in recent minutes.
They're just tough. I mean, this is a tough group.
Galloway in some traffic, has it knocked away.
Gotta go. Gotta go.
Clark doesn't know it. Didn't know it, and they don't get a shot off at the end of the half. And Kihei Clark does so many good things. Tony Bennett will put his arm around him and give him a little smile.
I think he'll play in the second half, though.
I think so.
He'll probably let it go.
Boy, Virginia, other than that, finished the half extremely well, stretching it out to a 12-point lead.
Side position for an offensive rebound. The ball goes into Gardner, and just a beautiful cut by Armand Franklin right down the pipe to get an easy basket. 50% from the field. And Tony Bennett nonplussed by the first half.
Close to perfect, not quite perfect, up by 12. Holly Rowe got some thoughts from Brad Brownell at halftime.
Well, rebounding is an issue for this big, strong Clemson team. Getting out-rebounded 22-14. Coach Brownell said, you know, we're getting out-rebounded because we're in rotation. And then our guards are up against Jaden Gardner, who's killing us on the glass with 5 rebounds. So he said, we've got to do a better job. He said, our guards can't be the one going up for boards against that big, strong kid.
But that's part of the constant motion, right?
Yes.
As they get you scrambling.
That's exactly what it is. And look, they've given up a couple offensive rebounds. The problem is you're going to give up defensive rebounds to Virginia when you miss so many shots. And Clemson's going to have to start making some shots.
Shefflin guarding Clark. Franklin into the paint, elevates and hits. He is having himself a very nice game.
Stays so wide, and when Kihei Clark penetrates and hits him, then you give up that middle drive. And Armand Franklin's not just a shooter, he's got a middle game.
As you said, it looks so much more comfortable in this offense than he did a year ago after transferring from Indiana.
And right away, Virginia coming with that post-to-post double, and that's something that Tony got from his dad, the great Dick Bennett, one of the truly great coaches and great gentlemen in the game. And Tony comes from a great basketball family. You know, his uncle Jack, an outstanding coach. And look at Armand Franklin when Kihei Clark penetrates into the lane and he's got Ian Shufflin on him, so he's able to get by. All of a sudden, you're having to close out, and Franklin drives middle, and that's a really nice little jump hook, and that's coming from a guard.
Where does the offense come from, meanwhile, for Clemson? Scoreless the last 4 minutes of the first half, and still looking to break the ice here in the second.
Well, P.J. Hall got the ball right in the middle of the lane, but wound up fading away. That was just strong defense staying between Hall and the basket by Jaden Gardner. A little cross screen for Beekman.
Franklin, beautiful feed, and another bucket for Gardner. Boy, are they clicking.
And it was just set up by the shot fake. You know, Armand Franklin gave a shot fake, and all of a sudden Clemson's given up a paint drive that puts you in rotation, and the beautiful drop off.
11 now for Gardner, and the lead is 16 for Virginia.
And every cut for Clemson, you're having to cut through somebody's chest. Ball goes into the post. They dig it out with the double team. There's another double.
And an errant pass.
The rhythm of Clemson is totally disrupted on both ends of the floor. They're chasing on defense. A little hesitation, and then drawing defenders and just threading the needle with that little pocket pass. That's just beautiful basketball.
Another great pass. Clark to Gardner. And what a smile on the face of Jaden Gardner coming back down the court.
Well, Clemson getting picked apart, in part because there's zero pressure on the ball. So Kihei Clark had nothing but vision of everything in front of him because zero pressure on him.
All Wahoos right now. It is an 18-point lead for Virginia, looking for a date with Duke in the championship game tomorrow night.
A lot of alliteration from anxious anchorman placed in.
When the details take precedence, and each piece is crafted with intention, the rest falls perfectly into place. We strip away everything but the essential, finding sophistication in simplicity. And what we're left with are thoughtful bedrooms for modern living. Thuma.
To make an Ariat boot requires like over 150 people. Artisan, craftsmanship, that's not a trend, it's just how things are done here. Whip stitching or tooling or putting studs in by hand maybe could be done by machine, but these boots have a lot of character. They're made by people who know what they're doing and are really good at it. The guys that shape the heels, they're sculptors to me. It's so hard to do because you're doing it by hand. It's not cast. It's not done by machine. It's a guy making a heel, and that's cool.
The New York Life ACC tournament continues all week on the ESPN family of networks. We'll have the championship game for you tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. And don't forget to check out our alternate angle of tonight's game, the New York Life Above the Rim Cam, streaming live on the ESPN app.
And for those of us who spent their careers playing below the rim, it's awfully nice to see that view. Boy, that post double has really been effective.
And every team that plays against Virginia, they know the post double is coming. What makes Virginia's post double particularly effective?
Well, they get there quickly and they stay connected so you can't split it. And if you dribble out, they recover out of it really well. But I think we were referring before to Tony's father, Dick Bennett, the great coach, was at Wisconsin, Green Bay, and at Washington State and Wisconsin. Yeah, he wanted to get the ball out of the post. Nothing good can happen when the ball's one-on-one in the post. And so you double it and rotate out, and they rotate out of it really quickly.
Spin by Gardner, double team. Extra pass, Franklin for three. And Shefflin runs down the rebound. Is Tony Bennett's coaching at both ends of the floor just kind of a somewhat modernized version of what Dick Bennett preached?
Yeah, with a lot of the principles. I think it's more principle based than doing exactly what Dick Bennett did. And, you know, I actually think Tony Bennett would be an outstanding coach in the NBA. He's been an outstanding coach anywhere. But my favorite part of Tony, you know, obviously his character, but you know, I think it was a couple years ago, they got blown out at Florida State. And it was one of those games where a coach would go in and say, that was unacceptable, our performance. And he comes in and says, we're thankful for the lessons that adversity teaches us. I never heard that from a coach.
When the details take precedence, and each piece is crafted with intention, the rest falls perfectly into place. We strip away everything but the essential, finding sophistication in simplicity. And what we're left with are thoughtful bedrooms for modern living. Thuma.
BetterHelp provides various options to connect with your therapist.
We can do this via video, we can do this as a chat, we can do this over the phone. So whatever is most convenient for the client is really what's going to help them open up more at the end of the day.
I have learned that I really do believe in the best of people. And I do really believe that people are stronger sometimes than they think they are, even themselves.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. When you take care of your team, they take care of business. And it's Virginia taking care of business right now. A 16-point lead on Clemson early in the second half, trying to move into the championship game tomorrow night against the Duke Blue Devils, who beat Miami earlier tonight. Best major conference records over the last 6 seasons. Virginia, these are in-conference games, #1. Tony Bennett has won a national championship. He has won 6 outright or shared regular season ACC titles, 2 ACC tournament championships, vying for a 3rd this year. He has built an unbelievable program.
The ball movement is just impeccable. Curls, fade screens, flares, re-screens. And the ball moving to both sides of the floor, back and forth, and the defense at some point is going to make a mistake.
Chase Hunter, no. Shedrick corrals, and here comes Clark.
Boy, that list of teams that Virginia was at the head of that class, every team on there had won a national championship over that period, except for, not over that period, but had won a national championship except for Purdue,
who certainly is in the conversation this year as Beekman adds to the lead.
And Purdue has not been to a Final Four since 1980. You know who the coach was that year?
For Purdue?
Lee Rose.
Ooh. Shedrick fouled by Middlebrooks.
And they're going to have to take a look at that.
Yeah.
Was that a basketball play and excessive?
And the signal given by Lee Cassell that they are going to look at it.
It's that right arm just kind of behind Shedrick. I don't think it's that big of a deal. He's making a play on the ball. I can't imagine that's going to be a flagrant, but you never know. Ben Middlebrooks had a terrific game. Really did a good job off the bench against NC State.
Shedrick looking up at the official right away as if to say, what gives?
I had mentioned last night in the game that Clemson played against NC State that Ben Middlebrooks, his uncle is Danny Cannell. And I made some tongue-in-cheek quip about, I'll bet you Danny Cannell's not helping Ben with his homework. And of course I get a text message from Danny Cannell, who's a great guy, saying that, reminding me that he was academic All-ACC when he was the quarterback of Florida State.
Oh, good for him for reminding you.
Yeah, well, no, it was great, but I told him, I said it's nice that your work with crayons was rewarded.
That was also a tongue-in-cheek quip?
No.
That one, no, that
no,
one.
of course it was. Danny's a fantastic guy and a fantastic broadcaster, and his nephews have done a great job at Clemson.
Lee Cassell coming over to give us the info. Upgraded to a flagrant 1. This is a 19-2 run for Virginia over the last 9 minutes, obviously going back to about the last 4 minutes of the first half. It was 29-25 Virginia. It's now 48-27.
Now with the upgrade, it's 2 shots on the ball.
A Clemson team that has played so well this year, has so many nice wins, looked so good last night against North Carolina State, and they hung in even though it felt like they were kind of getting outplayed the first 16 minutes. You look up and the scoreboard says they're right there, but man, has it gotten away from them.
Yeah, Virginia can make you look bad. You know, we talked about it. This is just a rhythm disrupting team. And they are clicking offensively with everything they run. You know, their cuts are crisp and they're passing excellent. A little flex action out of the out of bounds underneath. You know, flex is a continuity offense, and Isaac McNeely, he doesn't miss many of those.
Well, Clemson certainly has guys who can put the ball in the basket. Hall and Tyson and Hunter, but easier said than done against Virginia.
K.A. Clark just has a great ability to stay in front. He gets up underneath you.
Doesn't foul. Shot clock's at 5. Godfrey on the drive. Tough shot. That'll go. R.J. Godfrey, 6'7" freshman. Lots of potential.
He did a nice job against NC State. Came off the bench, had 4 points, a couple of rebounds. He's a strong player at 6'7".
You know, there was a time, and fairly recently, when Virginia was not clicking on all cylinders offensively. They had they're clicking now.
Reese Beekman just fades into the corner and then drives it. And a terrific slip to the basket by Caden Shedrick.
Kind of the forgotten man, but again, because of the injury to Vanderplas, Shedrick is back in the rotation and making a lot of noise. Nice shot fake by Tyson, and it'll go. But getting back to Virginia, very narrow wins over Louisville and Notre Dame in mid-February. Lost by 15 at BC, only scored 48 points. Lost at Carolina. But over the last couple of weeks, they really appear to be rounding into form right now.
Yeah, and this is unusual for Virginia to have in any game a 20-point lead. They're not a knockout punch team. Most of their games are close, but they make so many plays down the stretch and winning plays. But their guards are mistake-free. I mean, Reese Beekman and K.A. Clark, they're not only second and third in the league in assists, but they're first and second in assist turnover ratio. The drive, B.J. Hall has to come over, and then the little pocket pass along the baseline to Caden Shedrick, who just slipped to the basket. That's just beautiful offense.
With more, here's Holly Rowe.
Well, if you're watching Caden Shedrick the last 2 games, you're like, why hasn't he been in the lineup? And honestly, Tony Bennett had gone to a little bit of a small ball lineup with Ben Vanderplas, and it started working after that North Carolina game, and they started getting better offensively. So he's been out of that rotation. Hadn't done anything wrong, nothing the young man did, but they just thought they were playing better with a smaller lineup. And one of the guys I was talking to about this said, look, you have to stay encouraged and stay ready, and that's exactly what Caden Shedrick's done, and he's been terrific when his name got called.
Well, they lose a shooter in Vanderplas. They lose one of the great mustaches in college basketball as well. But with Cafaro and Shedrick, they've still got, it's a different kind of combo, but a very nice combo with the 5 spot. Even Drew Timme would be impressed with that, don't you think?
Yeah, that is quite a stat. I think Ben Vanderplas's friends had a T-shirt made, because I've got one of them with that mustache prominently displayed. Back screen for the screener action.
Off the screen, Clark. Ooh, wow. I mean, big time contact, and
just frustration.
Yeah.
I mean, you run off so many screens, you want to make the screener feel it.
And the officials will take a look at this. They will call the under 12 timeout right now. You'll get another look going to break. As Jay said, screen after screen after screen. Hunter running into Shedrick.
It started with making a better men's shirt. And now we're on a mission to take over your entire closet with basics that last a lifetime. Inspired by our Southern California roots, Built Basics is here to elevate your style in true premium fashion. Make the switch to premium basics today and level up your look. Shop now at BuiltBasics.com.
To make an Ariat boot requires like over 150 people. Artisan, craftsmanship, that's not a trend, it's just how things are done here. Whip stitching or tooling or putting studs in by hand maybe could be done by machine, but these boots have a lot of character. They're made by people who know what they're doing and are really good at it. The guys that shape the heels, they're sculptors to me. It's so hard to do because you're doing it by hand. It's not cast, it's not done by machine. It's a guy making a heel, and that's cool.
First. So again, this is the foul. The officials had a look, did not upgrade this to a flagrant one. That'll be a common foul on Chase Hunter, but Brad Brownell frustrated with how things are going, and he got teed up. So a technical foul on Brownell, 2 free throws coming for Virginia, and then it will be their ball as a result of the common foul on Chase Hunter. So frustration on the court for the guys in orange, and frustration on the Clemson bench as well. And playing Virginia will do that to you, especially when Virginia's playing as well as they are right now. Clark knocks him down. Double figures now for Kihei Clark. Another illustration of how well Virginia's playing at the offensive end tonight. They've got 13 assists to just 4 turnovers.
Yeah, the 4 turnovers really amazing. This is a terrific ball control team. They only average 8.5 turnovers a game anyway.
Shedrick will step back for a 3. This is Dylan Hunter, younger brother of Chase Hunter, freshman, a very talented guy, originally committed to Baylor. All sizing up Shedrick, who's a good shot blocker. And a couple of free throws coming for P.J. Hall. Well, the Nothing But Net crew is going to be back at it tonight after this game to break down both of the semifinal games here for the New York Life ACC tournament. Post-game interviews and a look ahead to the championship game. Duke will take on the winner of this one. You can see Nothing But Net tonight on ACC Network and the ESPN app.
Luke Hancock wearing his Ron Burgundy sport coat. The most outstanding player of the 2013 NCAA tournament.
He's listening.
What's it like to have somebody listen to you? Must be nice, huh?
Sorry, you were saying? .26 to go. Virginia by 18. And Clemson will step up the pressure.
And this is something I would have liked to have seen earlier, just to make Virginia take time off the clock. Sure-handed. Nice try by you, though.
Thank you.
But if you press, you can press for different reasons. You can press to speed a game up, to try to force turnovers. You can also press to slow a game down. And you play Virginia, it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to have a slow tempo. So if you can slow their advance, you don't have to guard their stuff for as long when they get to the half court.
Out of bounds to Virginia. Boy, as well as things went last night for the Tigers against NC State, is as poorly as they're going tonight.
So it takes Virginia a while to get it over, and they really don't get into anything until about 18 on the clock. So now you're not guarding as many screens, not guarding as many actions. And I think this would have really helped Clemson's defense had Clemson gone to this earlier.
Beekman. Franklin, no, but the follow by Gardner.
Well, P.J. Hall was basically playing a one-man zone in the middle of the lane. But Virginia is just cutting up this defense.
Chase Hunter at the other end for the Tigers. Reese Beekman with 7 assists in the game already. And he had a great night last night in the win over Carolina. He can help you win a game so many different ways.
And he doesn't have to score to have a major impact on the game. He does so many other things.
Gardner takes a bump from Hall. Misses the fadeaway, and the rebound down to Godfrey. Virginia right now on the 4 line, according to Joe Lunardi, and obviously there's room to move with everything going on today, tomorrow, and in some cases on Sunday before we find out who's in, who's out, and who's going where. Turnaround by P.J. Hall. Clemson fans getting a little noisier, but they've still got a lot of work to do here. 16 against Virginia. The way the clock runs in their games feels like more than 16.
It does feel that way, but you get a couple stops, couple scores. Running. Chase Hunter ran through his screen again. He's trying to say the screen was moving.
And the call goes against Hunter of Clemson, his 3rd. Ryan Dunn will sit. Francisco Caparo comes back in. They might want to think twice before trying to barrel over him when he's setting the screen.
Well, they can try, but it's you're gonna feel like a crash test dummy if you do that. That's a big body out there.
Yep. And he seeks out contact whenever possible. Gets a touch, kicks it out. Franklin for 3.
Just good basketball. Get a post touch, relocate, kick it out. Clemson needs to as much movement as they can offensively.
All the handoff. Tyson, no. And Caparo down with a rebound rather for the Hoos.
Clemson has to go into quick strike mode, but then that puts them into time of possession. They're just running through screens. And Hunter Tyson got nailed by a screen. He's like, finally.
Caparo called for the foul. When Francisco Caparo's in the game, you're aware of it. 5th-year player from Argentina. Sliding a little. He didn't think so. Galloway to Dylan Hunter. And he'll knock it down. Dylan Hunter made his 2nd 3 of the season last night. Now 3 for 20 on the year from beyond the arc.
Just a smart pass there because Kihei Clark was helping off and just couldn't recover in time.
Gardner fouled on the floor before the shot. Hunter Tyson, the foul, his 2nd. And number 7 on the Tigers. So bonus now for Tony Bennett's Virginia Cavaliers. Jaden Gardner at the line.
Jaden Gardner may be an undersized big guy at 6'6", but he is strong. I mean, he had 17 points, 10 rebounds against North Carolina in this tournament. And because he is a little bit smaller, most players have difficulty. They say, oh, he's got difficulty scoring over length. Who doesn't have difficulty scoring over length? But he creates contact so well to create that little bit of extra space he needs to get his shot off. And he's a very good shot maker. I remember Kelvin Sampson telling me he was the toughest cover in the league when he was at East Carolina because he's got an amazing first step and a fantastic shot fake in the mid-range.
Yeah, short corner, elbow, comfortable from a number of different spots. Good defense by Franklin on Galloway. Now Hall guarded by Caparo. Turn around. And it's going against Clemson. It'll be R.J. Godfrey called for the foul with 7:34 to go in the second half. And Virginia seemingly in command here in Greensboro. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by New York Life. Over 12,000 agents there to help guide you through life's happiest and most difficult times.
BetterHelp provides various options to connect with your therapist.
We can do this via video, we can do this as a chat, we can do this over the phone. So whatever is most convenient for the client is really what's going to help them open up more at the end of the day.
I have learned that I really do believe in the best of people. And I do really believe that people are stronger sometimes than they think they are, even themselves.
When the details take precedence, and each piece is crafted with intention, the rest falls perfectly into place. We strip away everything but the essential, finding sophistication in simplicity. And what we're left with are thoughtful bedrooms for modern living. Thuma.
Coach Bennett in Virginia.
Absolutely right. You are 100% right, Jordan. Pac-12 tournament presented by New York Life continuing all week on the ESPN family of networks. Later on tonight, well, about 13 minutes from now on ESPN, Big One Arizona and Arizona State. The Sun Devils, a bubble team looking for a big win. UCLA without Jalen Clark, but still experienced, talented, tough, together, still a very dangerous team.
Yeah, and any time a player goes out, nobody wants to see Jalen Clark be out for the season. He's such a great transition player and one of the best defenders in the country. And a downhill driver that takes the ball right into your chin every time he goes to the basket. But Amari Bailey, the talented freshman out of Sierra Canyon High School, he's stepping forward, and then Tiger Campbell is just a winner.
Brevin Galloway with a three. It's a 15-point game.
There's still a lot of time in this game, and I know Virginia eats a lot of time off the clock, but this is a game where you get a couple stops, get a couple scores, and the tenor of it can change a little bit because Virginia's been playing a lot of this game without any game pressure on them at all. Got a switch now. Hall on Clark.
Gardner, Caparo, and a chance for three.
Just beautiful. And Jaden Gardner breaks to the high post. Clark hits him. And because of the angle of the defense, they're able to go high-low with Caparo. Caparo played that angle really well. Set the screen, then rolls back into the basket, got the switch. Now he's got a little guy on him, and he just turns and seals him and gets that high-low pass. It's just the break to the free throw line by Gardner just made the play.
And that's a classic example of what you were talking about before, where you would like to see a hockey assist, that second assist, that kind of a play.
Yeah, that's just intelligent basketball, really beautiful.
Foul on Hall is going to give it back to the Hoos with 6:29 to go. That's 3 on P.J. Hall, who is muttering to himself right now. It's been that kind of a night for the Tigers.
Yeah, there's a lot of muttering and frustration, but Dan, basketball is a game of angles, and that was a great example of it. That Caparo wasn't open because he was being fronted. He wasn't open for the pass from the left wing from Kihei Clark, but look at that cut by Gardner.
Wow.
It's beautiful. But there was no pressure on Kihei Clark, and he's just able to pick the defense apart.
So if you're Tony Bennett, you're looking for players for this program, and this is a program, not a team. What kind of attributes are you looking for guys to run their stuff with as much discipline as this group does?
High basketball IQ, competitive. You certainly want guys that can shoot and are very skilled, but I think the IQ part of it has to be the most important factor. Guys that understand how to play and are willing to do what's asked of them. And this is not an easy system to play in.
good at both ends of the court, and they've been great at both ends of the court tonight. And you talked about system and doing what's asked of them. You can't be selfish and play for this team. You can't go out and try to do it yourself. You got to play within the system.
Yeah, and you can't be selfish really anywhere and win. Selfish doesn't win. But you also have to get used to a different style of coaching. I was at a practice earlier this year, and Tony didn't like the defensive effort. And a lot of coaches would maybe use some colorful language, call a name or two, and question fortitude.
Right.
And Tony did it by saying, "That's anemic." And then all of a sudden you're thinking about oxygenated blood and what your platelets are doing, but it gets the point across. Why is Tony wearing a headband on that T-shirt?
That's an excellent question.
You never notice there are no T-shirts with the faces of bald men on it?
Yeah.
Just a discriminatory thing in our culture that's really concerning.
So change that. No offense on that.
Not a lot of takers.
Yep. Franklin. And Shefflin down with a rebound for Clemson. We can feel how we feel, and we do. We both feel Clemson is a tournament team. But, Jay, it's going to be an excruciating 48 hours for them until they find out if they get in at large. Right?
Yeah, just because, I agree. Just because all the discussion that goes on with the cottage industry that the tournament predictions have turned into. And it's all great. I love it. But you got to be kidding me. I mean, some of the teams that we're talking about in the tournament, you compare their resumes to Clemson, and then you look on the floor. And, look, tonight is not the #1 example you'd want to use of Clemson as a tournament team. I get that. But if you've watched this team all year long, Clemson can play.
Yeah.
But the issue is they're playing against a team in Virginia. Virginia does this to a lot of people. They are difficult to play against. That's why they're ranked number 13 in the country and tied for the ACC championship.
And again, not to assume that this one is over, but a 15-point lead, just over 5 to go. As you can see, Joe Lunardi right now has Clemson first 4 out. And note the presence of 2 ACC teams in the last 4 in, NC State and Pittsburgh. Interesting.
Yeah, when you compare teams, head-to-head does matter. And look, I think NC State's a tournament team. I think Pittsburgh's a tournament team. I have them in with greater ease than that reflects. But that's a real gut punch when you're looking at a team that you've beaten 3 times.
Right.
Ahead of you on that list.
It'll all become clear on Sunday. But barring a big comeback here by the Tigers, it's going to be going to feel like longer than a couple of days that they have to wait to find out their fate.
And I love the committee language that's been developed over the years. Like right now, they're scrubbing resumes. There's a lot of cleanliness in that room. A lot of borax and elbow grease while they scrub those resumes.
Bubble teams going at it all around the country. Again, Arizona State's one of them, playing Arizona, starting soon on ESPN.
I hope Kirk Crease is okay with that shoulder. Did you see last night where he had to shoot a free throw left-handed?
Yeah. A lot of significant injuries to important players on really good teams the last couple of weeks, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Yeah. And you hope that Bill Self is back soon. He's out for the entire Big 12 tournament. And Norm Roberts doing a fantastic job in his absence.
Shot clock at 5. Clark for 3.
What do you do? I mean, what do you do?
If you're Kihei Clark, you have a little smile on your face getting back down on defense. They have had a great night. 13 for Clark. The double on Hall, and he'll head back to the free throw line. But time is winding down on Clemson, and looking more and more like it will be Virginia taking on Duke, Jay, in the championship game tomorrow night.
You play 29 seconds of defense, get a hand up on Kihei Clark, and still you're taking it out of the net. It's been that type of night for Virginia.
When the details take precedence and and each piece is crafted with intention. The rest falls perfectly into place. We strip away everything but the essential, finding sophistication in simplicity. And what we're left with are thoughtful bedrooms for modern living. Thuma.
I became a therapist because I myself was a client. You know, I noticed the influence, the impact that it had in my life.
A platform like BetterHelp is very important because it allows access to affordable mental health care.
Sometimes I even joke with my clients and I say to them, I should be the one paying you. Just seeing your journey, just seeing the miracles, that's really what gets me going in the morning.
To be a therapist, in my opinion, is one of the most humbling things ever.
Well, earlier tonight, Duke in a very good game, a hard-fought game against Miami, had advanced on to the final with an 85-78 win over the Hurricanes. So that means the next assignment, you're a coach, you watch the second game, and it looks like it'll be Duke and Virginia. This was how the first one went, right at the end of regulation. Originally a foul call. The officials went to the monitor, said the foul came after triple zeros. So no foul, so overtime. Virginia won in overtime. Later the league said there should have been a foul call, but Virginia won in overtime. Will be a very interesting night between two teams who are playing very, very well right now. Again, assuming that Virginia holds on to this lead and takes on the Blue Devils tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think both teams are playing substantially better than they did at that time. And Duke is a different team offensively than they've been most of the season. Just the maturation of that team in the last 2-3 weeks. It's been really impressive.
Lively a bigger factor. Proctor playing extremely well. Whitehead a bigger factor right now.
Yeah, Whitehead getting healthy because he's a weapon out there.
You know, and quietly the guy nobody ever talks about, Mark Mitchell, just as consistent as anybody in recent weeks for the Blue Devils. That tip it will go. I think it was Gardner.
It was.
Yep. He's had a great night. He's got 21, Jay.
Anytime you're ever in a crowd and somebody tips one in, you need to raise your hand just on the off chance you get credit for it.
Tyson saves it, but it belongs to Virginia. Now Tyson the foul. And again, he's working his tail off. He plays hard, but boy, is he frustrated. They wanted to play basketball one more night here in Greensboro.
There's some games where it's just not your night. And I don't think this is reflective of, it's certainly reflective of how good Virginia is, but it's not reflective of the quality of team that Clemson is.
Nice night for Armaan Franklin. That's his 15th point.
He's just had a great year.
Yeah.
He's had 12, 20 point or better games, and he's a good defender. He probably doesn't get enough credit for the defense that he plays because he plays with two of the best defenders not only in the league but in the country, and Reese Beekman and Kihei Clark. Reese Beekman being the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, and Kihei Clark again first team or all defensive team. There's only one all defensive team.
Hall leans in, left it short. Galloway now challenges Shedrick. Hall fell over his teammate, crashing to the court. Bodies everywhere, and finally a foul call. Ouch.
You know, in a game like this where both teams are still playing really hard and it seems like the outcome is near decided, you know, when do you go to the bench? You know, when does Brad Brownell go to the bench and make sure that P.J. Hall or Hunter Tyson, they don't get hurt?
The ovation you hear is for Caden Shedrick as he is fouled out. Been a very important guy for the Cavs the last couple of nights.
Yeah, really good minutes against both North Carolina and Clemson. Active, strong, protecting the rim. And he's really been, you know, a lot of coaches would call it screener scorer. That you set a screen and look to score off that action, and oftentimes, you know, the most selfish thing you can do to get a shot is to set a really good screen. You set a really good screen, the screener's going to be open most times.
And obviously with the size, the length of Shedrick, the size and the strength of Caffaro, that comes in handy when you're playing a team as big as Duke is.
No question. And, you know, it's not like Clemson's without size.
Right.
But Duke's a little bit more athletic up front.
Tony Bennett has coached the Hoos to a couple of ACC tournament championships. 2014, 2018. The 2014 one was here in Greensboro. Beekman, nice look. Clark misses the three.
That was almost a look away. He was looking toward the free throw line, then kicked it out to the corner.
Well, in recent years, a whole bunch of different programs have won the ACC tournament. In the last 10 tournaments that have been played, so we leave out 2020, there have been 8 different programs to win in those last 10 years. Only Duke and Virginia have repeated in that time span. Well, there's some good teams on there when you think about it. Going back to that 2012 Florida State team.
And one of the best tournaments. I mean, there have been so many great ones, but that 2015 tournament was that Notre Dame won was that was a magical few days here.
That kind of a night for Jaden Gardner. He's got 23 points to go with a dozen rebounds.
You know, he had a slow period during the middle of the season where he wasn't scoring, and boy, he is definitely over that. He's been spectacular.
So who knows how they line up, but you could have Gardner going against Kyle Filipowski tomorrow night. Very interesting matchup.
Well, he's played against bigger people a lot.
And Tony Bennett going to make a couple of subs. What a complete performance at both ends of the court tonight by the Virginia Cavaliers.
It was clinic-like.
Franklin out, Gardner out, Clark out, all the starters out. And listen to the ovations.
And well earned. Chase Coleman, a senior, 5'10" from Norfolk, Virginia, into the ball game. He's knocked down a couple threes this season.
Brad Brownell has made mass substitutions as well. And they want to get Coleman a shot. They do. Maybe he'll get another chance. Chauncey Wiggins, freshman from Grayson, Georgia, number 21, in for Clemson. And Coleman down with a rebound. There you go. But even when you come in at this time for Virginia, you got to run the stuff. You got to run the stuff. McNeely finds Murray in the corner for three.
Well, Tane Murray's was 1 of 11 for three coming into this game. That was an excellent fade to the corner. He's hit 2 threes in this game, one in the first half, one in the second.
Wiggins no, and out of bounds. Clemson ball with a shot clock reset to 20 with 27.1 to go. Virginia fans on their feet. And yes, we are in Greensboro, but Virginia fans will make their presence felt tomorrow night against Duke. Shot clock running down. Godfrey hoists. Shot clock violation. Clock still running. And that is going to do it. Impressive doesn't do it justice. Virginia 76, Clemson 56. And we'll have the 2 seed, the Hoos, taking on the 4 seed, the Blue Devils, tomorrow night in what should be, JB, a fascinating game with a championship on the line.
Well, 2 great defensive teams. Virginia, the older team and more experienced, but Duke, a team on the rise and getting better and better right before our eyes. That should be a great ACC final tomorrow night.
ACC championship game tomorrow night at 8:30 on ESPN.